Welcome back, everybody. Another episode of Street Tales. I've got my friend, a good friend, Dave Tarbox, back with us. He was one of the OGs on the podcast back when it was just audio. Mo is with us, and I'm very excited to get into it. I'm excited to do this on the video, Dave, because it just adds a level of authenticity and I don't know. It's something about seeing who's talking to you. It just changes the delivery. And as we were talking before, this is not going to be a recap or a redo of episode the first time we talked. But the last time that you were on, and I'll just use the title of the episode because it's fun. We talked about how you went through chaos, addiction, crime, prison to clarity, recovery, and entrepreneurship, which, dude, I got to tell you, I said it on the first episode. It's fucking huge, man. We've talked to a lot of people on this podcast. Your story, it resonates with so many people. It's very impressive. I know it doesn't feel that way maybe when you're going through it. But this episode, I kind of wanted to talk about something that doesn't get brought up a lot, but you know, people like to hear the comeback story, but what's life like after the comeback? What does that look like? You know what I mean? Do you agree? Like everybody wants to hear the comeback. Oh, dude, he's doing great. Okay. Well, now what? Like what's life now after?
Yeah.
So I'm excited to get into it. Yeah.
All right.
Perfect. All right. First question, and we'll just kind of bounce off each other. First question is just like, and again, this is feeding off episode 1, which I'll have in the notes. But so I know there's kind of a lag, and flush this out. I'm just trying to get the question going. But so when you got out, stabilized, so to speak, what hit you the hardest first? Like, you're changing your lifestyle. Was it like boredom, fear, shame, temptation? Like, I'm sure you had so much shit going on, but like, if you can recall back, what got you over that hump? And again, this is feeding off episode 1. So I apologize if you don't remember exactly how we kind of ended it.
Yeah. I guess I don't really understand exactly what you're asking. So like when I was in recovery or like once I had progressed past that point?
Yeah, kind of. Well, I mean, kind of that's your, so we kind of ended the show like you gotten out of prison, you were going through recovery, and you started your barbershop. So whatever that, we can go back a little bit to kind of flush that out if you want, but we kind of ended with your family man, you have children, you have a business, like your life is on the right path. That's how we ended episode 1. I mean, there's so much more to your story, and that's kind of what I wanted to have you back on for. And so I'm kind of going back to how we ended episode 1, which is a few years in your life ago, but like those early weeks, months, years, whatever it looked like, when you were in that transition, you got out of Mass, you're in Maine, you're starting your business, you had this whole lifestyle that you had lived most of your life at that point, and now you're changing.
Yeah. Oh, so I embraced the change though, because that's what I was looking for in my life. Yeah. Okay. And it was like, we had talked about this before. It was always the same people, places, and things. And I kind of was always in these cycles. Yeah. So what I looked for, and I used to do this like when I was in the gym, but I looked at people in my life who had what I wanted, and then I would just try to emulate them. Yeah. And you just kind of learn by doing and trial and error. And I wouldn't really ask people, but I would see someone in a position, and I ask questions. Hey, how did you get there? What steps did you take? Who do I have to talk to? Stuff like that. And I really I'm a creature of routine. And once I started getting those healthy habits, that's I was able to see past the other stuff that I had been so hung up on, and then really start seeing what was out there, and want to at least reach for it, and having the courage to reach for it.
Well, let me flush it out a little bit, because people can't tell, because you got all the clothes on, bro, but you're a gym guy. You are. We both, you and I talk about it. So you're working out. You're working a regular 9 to 5, shall we say. I don't think being a barber is quite those hours, but whatever. A steady, normal job, right?
Close enough. Yeah.
Close enough, right? I mean, I think you guys actually work longer hours, being honest. Well, talking to you, I know you do. But that's a vast change from what you described prior to that, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, to go from where I was to where I
Yeah.
am now,
Yeah.
even when I'm having like those tough days
Mhm.
and absolutely nothing goes my way, I just take a breath and I look around and I realize I'm in a warm house. I have a safe place to sleep. You know,
Yeah.
my kids are safe, they're fed, they're healthy, and
Yeah.
and then to think about it, when I talk to people and someone actually came in the barber shop the other day and they were in a really tough spot. And at first, someone comes in, they're disheveled, it was raining outside, they were wet. You could obviously tell that they hadn't been inside. And they started conversation that didn't really lead anywhere, and I offered them a cup of coffee. And the look on their face when I offered them that cup of coffee, like they just completely lit up. They were like, "Oh, thank you so much. My hands are freezing." And it's so nice. It's refreshing to have someone just, be nice to you instead of just dismissing you immediately. And so they hung out and we talked for a few minutes and they left and people made some comments and stuff, and I was like, we're only one or two bad decisions away from being in a
Bro.
very similar situation.
Yeah.
And it just made me really take a look at what I had, where I was, and I'm not that far removed from that, you know, and it's things like that that let me know that the hard work and all those sleepless nights, they're paying off. They're for something.
Do you
I
remember
think when I
what
hear
some of
you
the
talk,
go ahead, Mo, sorry.
I just want to say, like, I think when like you were struggling to ask him the question about what did it look like afterwards, and when I
Yeah.
hear you talk, Dave, though, I think that your mindset is very different than a lot of people's in general, not just
Yeah.
people who struggle with addiction. People in general don't have the mindset of attacking something that's hard with the outlook of I'm looking for the change that's going to come out on the other side. And I think that creates that space for you to have that gratefulness of remembering those steps because you didn't just begrudgingly go through them. You went through
Yeah.
them, I think, even in the time with some gratitude.
Yeah, I mean, I tried for sure. And I always say this, like I never wanted to be a victim of my circumstance.
Yeah.
And it's easy and it's happened to me multiple times in my life where, I have a pretty serious criminal background. And that keeps me from doing a lot of things that, you and Tyler can do pretty easily, but it doesn't stop me completely. And
Yeah,
if I put the work forth and
Yeah.
take the steps that I need to take, I can get where I need to be. And I never want to use that as, oh, I can't do that because of this or, whatever. I've always tried to just, keep moving forward and get that change out of my life. And, you know,
that's awesome.
Yeah. And Dave, I can edit this out, but just to recap, and correct me if it's wrong, but I'm just kind of for people who haven't heard the first episode, and I didn't fully understand this having known you for a few years, Dave, but like the level of homelessness where you talk about living in cars, in and out of cars, that kind of stuff, the addiction that you were going through at the time, the relationships that you had that were important to you, but destructive in the nature of the relationships that you had. And then the lifestyle, it's like I was arrested on 8 bank robberies, convicted of 4. I've robbed more banks than Jesse James. Not to glorify those moments, but that's a high. There's highs and lows that you can never replicate. But then you found yourself at a real low, and you're like, "What the hell am I doing?" And geographical change.
geographic cure.
Yeah, to
Yeah.
get away from the addiction, you moved out of the entire area, a whole nother state. So you made a lot of steps. I don't know if you knew that or had heard that, and that's why you did that or not. Because that's the first time I'd ever heard it. And now I've talked to some therapists and doctors and people who do rehab facilities and stuff, and they're like, "Oh yeah, that's one of the methods of overcoming addiction." But again, these are all new things to me. So you were doing all these things, having come from that lifestyle, and that's why I just really want to kind of dwell on this moment for a minute. Like that's a wild place to be, to then say, I'm going to uproot everything I know, to, kind of cut off the entire life I had before. And I want to be better. And I'm going to I'm going to have family. I'm going to have a business, and and become the man who you are. So I just really want to kind of dwell on that for just a second, just to kind of let that understand what you went through, for those who hadn't heard the episode 1. And I guess my follow-up question to that is, what do you recall what some of the first healthy, I don't want to call them addictions, healthy activities, steps that you focused on to kind of get you in that right direction or on the right path?
Yeah, well,
Again, forgive me for not having the words, bro.
yeah. Um, I've always used the gym as a crutch, for physical health and mental health. I
Really?
have to burn
Okay.
off that nervous energy.
Yeah.
And I think that really was part of my problem when I was younger, is I had this nervous energy and I
Yeah.
just didn't know what to do with myself. And I didn't really have like positive role models where I could be like, oh, look at, this guy plays sports, or this guy really throws himself into his work. And, we've talked about this, everybody that I emulated was just hanging around.
Yeah.
And so when I had that nervous energy and I didn't know what to do with myself, and I would act out, and typically they were negative behaviors. So once I started kind of substituting those negative behaviors for positive behaviors, so the gym, reading, working, um, and then later with the kids and stuff like that, I just, focus my energy on that stuff. And then my brain can't kind of just spin and be left to its own devices. My grandfather would always say to me that, idle hands are the devil's playground. And I
Yeah.
never knew what he was talking about, but he was speaking directly to me. Like he
Yeah.
told me he saw it at a very young age, and I just didn't recognize it until, well into my 30s for what I was actually
Yeah.
doing. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, well, go ahead.
Well, BJ and I were just talking about this, like advice that either our parental figures, father, grandfather, uncle, whoever, that role model that you had in your life, they would drop knowledge on you in your teens, early 20s. And a lot of times you had no idea what they're talking about until you get older. And then you're like,
Yeah.
oh, that's what the hell they're talking about. So my grandmother used to tell me idle hands are the devil's playground. I mean, I was elementary school. I mean, young. I was like, I don't, what the, I have no idea what you're talking about. Now I understand, because when I'm alone, I have nothing to do.
Hmm.
Listen, I'm a human being. Like, sometimes bad thoughts start coming in there, bro, and you're like, maybe,
Yeah.
maybe I should look at that, or whatever it is, whatever it is.
Yep.
Right.
So I'm starting to understand. I'm
Hmm.
42, bro. Yeah,
I'm hearing you though, having dealt with people both professionally and having people in my family to have addiction issues and things like that. And I think when you talk about, well, I did this geographical cure, while it's not something that I've ever heard that uh, being the way it's said, but I've seen it played out in a lot of different
yeah,
ways where, oh, well, I'm moving here to try to avoid the problem. But it doesn't seem to fully click with a lot of people. So I think listening, like hearing you talk through these steps and how you kind of switched, again, going back to your mindset, it makes a
yeah,
big, like, this is where people are looking and going, is this attainable if I don't just I can't just move. I got to do these other pieces to the puzzle that I think you happen to put together all
yeah,
at the same time and at the right place in your life, I guess.
Yeah. I was After I got out of prison, I had relapsed, and I was again in like a really low place.
yeah,
And my I had another one, like, revelation where my best thinking kept getting me here.
mhm,
And AA was great, is great, a great program. And they have this saying where you're just willing to take suggestions. And again, you see people who are in these positions around you, and you try to emulate them, and you listen to what they say, and you take the suggestions that they give you.
yeah,
But with the geographic cure, like, you always bring yourself where you go. So once you get there, if you're not willing to take those suggestions,
yeah.
then, yeah, I would end up spinning my wheels again.
Yeah.
Dave,
Yeah.
like I said, I've talked to like PhDs, and I'm also referencing Mark Efron, who runs Legacy Healing, who also went through his own addiction stuff, and like highly research. You're just throwing these things out, bro. That's what I'm trying to explain to you. Like the level of knowledge and experience you have is well, it's why I'm thankful you came back on. I wanted you back on because you speak to people who, like, I've never gone through what you're describing, but I've talked to people who either have never gone through it but researched it, or people who have gone through it and now, like, that's their passion, is to help other people. and you're just throwing them out, bro. You just throw it out like it's like, yeah, this is just, this is just who I am, what I went through. No big deal.
I lived it.
Yeah, you fucking did it.
A lot of practice.
Fair enough, bro. Fair enough. One thing I wanted to ask is, because you talked about your relapse, but what did, again, to the best of your ability, what did early sobriety look like for you day to day, or like feel like? I don't know. I'm trying to come up with the best ways to phrase these for you.
Early sobriety looked for me. I talked to my best friend Dre, and I told him that I wanted to go to rehab, and he said, "Get your head in a good spot. Here's $100. Call me when you're better." So I went. I did detox, and then I went to like a TSS holding program. I was away for about 30 days before I called him. Yeah. And when I called him, he said, "I didn't think I was going to hear from you."
Really?
And he said, he said, well, because people in that position say all the time, like, "Yeah, I'm going to get clean. I need help. I need this. I need that." And that's kind of what I did. I called him. I was in a bad spot. He said, get yourself to detox. Call me when you got a clear head. So about a month goes by. I got a clear head. I give him a call, and that was the first suggestion I took. And he was the one that said, he's like, "You got to get out of Brockton." And that's where I was. I was in the police in Brockton. I said, "Yes, I agree. I do." And he said, "You want to come up to New Hampshire?" I said, "Yep." So he said, "Come on up to New Hampshire." So I moved up to Laconia, New Hampshire with 2 trash bags. I met him on the side of 93. My family graciously gave me a ride to a Burger King truck stop. They dropped me off. He picked me up, and we went from there. I went to a halfway house, and it was a great spot. I was able to, kind of network, meet some people that were in similar positions, and I had a bunch of free time at that point, so I really threw myself into AA and work in that program.
Yeah.
And after a little bit of time, got a job, and that's when I started reintroducing myself to these healthy habits. I was reading, I was working out, got myself a job, making my own money, started paying my own bills, started feeling better about myself.
Yeah.
And a few months that goes by, and end up in this little basement apartment down the street from where I started. My boss's house, and it was downstairs in the basement.
Yeah.
And that's about it. It was work, gym, meetings, and the occasional girl. And that's how my life was for, a few months. And I decided to get my head back on my shoulders, and I planned my next move. So where I was like Lakes Region, New Hampshire, and it was just a little too in the woods for me. So I ended
Mo doesn't know where that is at all.
Portland.
Yeah, Mo has no idea where that's at, by the way.
Yeah.
She's always befuddled by New England.
It's in the woods. Yeah. Beautiful. Beautiful country.
Yeah. A couple things. I didn't know, did Dre move to Maine with you?
He moved to Maine after I did.
Okay.
A few months after I did. But he had lived in Portland previous. Okay. And he was kind of the one, and that's like, well, when we were in New Hampshire, we were coming up to Portland like on the weekends and stuff. And beautiful city, and it always felt comfortable to me, and it just seemed like the next logical step for me.
And Mo, hold on real quick before you ask. I just want to reiterate, Dave's very humble. That's why it makes me laugh, because dude has a business, he has employees, he's crushing it. He has a beautiful family. I don't even know how many houses you bought a house, or you just bought a house, or he's crushing it. So listen to what he's coming from and where he was from and where he's at now. Like to me, it's like, this is just awesome. And that's why I love this man to death. Nothing but support for anything he's got. Shout out Gentleman Studios in Maine, Biddeford, Maine. Love this man, but he's just so humble the way he's like, I just had to do. So many people either can't, or whatever, don't have the opportunity. So I just want to kind of keep driving that in, because Dave, I'm nothing but, I love you, brother. You know that, you're my friend. But the more I learn about you and hear about you on these things, I'm proud, and I'm privileged to know you, brother. Like that's how I.
That's
feel.
really high praise. Thank you very much,
but I'm very serious, because it's so impressive, and you just like, I just kind of do these things. Sorry, Mo, I cut you off. Go ahead.
No, it's fine. I think that it goes to what I keep saying is his mindset is just different than a lot of people in
Yeah.
life. Take out the addiction, take out backgrounds and things like that. People, some
Yeah.
very successful people don't have the mindset that is required to have
Yeah.
continued success and drive through hard times and drive through hard
True.
things. So that's where I think it kind of lends to that. So you said your best friend sent you money. Was this someone that you knew prior to being having addiction and things like that and kind of stuck with you
Yeah.
through it?
Uh, oh yeah, we grew up together. We've known each other since we were little kids, and I'm still he's my business partner, and we bought this house together, so we're still very close to this day. I consider him a
Yeah.
brother. He's family to me. Yeah, I mean, 30
He's also
something years
jacked,
at this
Mo.
point.
They're both jacked. I mean, you can't see it, but every time I walk in there, I'm like,
I got the brains.
every time I'm like, damn, I need to tighten up. I need to tighten up. Sorry.
That's awesome. The other thing I noticed when you're telling this, and I think that this is something that needs to be reminded of people who might be in a situation that recovery doesn't require perfection. You said you did
No.
have a relapse, but you never gave up. You still continued to
Yeah.
drive through by calling your friend saying, "Hey, I want to get clean." And when he gave you $100 with, and in his mind, doubting that you were going to be able to get it right, you
Yeah.
still, even in those imperfections, you were able to still push through to recovery. What allowed you to, because I think a lot of people think like, oh, once I say I'm recovered, the minute I relapse, now I'm just back to the same person that I used to be.
When my grandfather passed away, my grandmother got a condolence card, and it was Churchill, and it just said, "Never, never, never give up." And she framed it and she put it in the kitchen. And those words just echo in my mind: "Give up, you die." And especially like in addiction, you can just
Yeah.
you roll over and show your belly, and the world will take you piece by piece. And I
Yeah.
had enough of that. Um, and like I said, I was in a very low spot. Um, just complete apathy for life. And I knew, I mean, it was either keep doing what I'm doing and, die young, or try to make something of myself. And I've been in that position over and over in my life, but this time it felt different. I told myself when I was in prison that I never wanted to get back into like active addiction and go down that rabbit hole again. Yet there I was. And it scared me because I didn't want to go back. And I didn't
Yeah.
want to die. I didn't want to disappoint my family. And I wanted so much more out of life. And I just, I finally had the courage to reach for it and actually, try to sustain it.
One piece
Yeah.
too that you brought up that I had
Yeah.
not thought about, and you said you threw out, and I think people never really hear it in this arena, is you networked with people who were in a similar circumstance.
Yeah.
I've come from the school of thought. I always feel like, regardless of what it is, whether you want a good marriage or whatever it is in life, you have to encapsulate your life with people who are going to have that same mindset. If you're married but hanging out with a bunch of single people, they're going to have a different mindset than you. So you do have to
Yeah.
network with people now and change maybe your friend group. In this case, you networked with people that were in your same situation at the time, which can be difficult because like I think a lot of times your mind can beat you down in situations like this where I don't want to talk to these people or tell them my story so they can judge me or how maybe they're a couple steps ahead of me or those kind of things. How did you work through that part of it and meet these individuals to help you kind of stay on that path that you were working towards and have them kind of come alongside you?
I just, I got super lucky. When I moved to Laconia, I just fell in with a great group of people. There was
Yeah.
a solid group of people that were all in recovery. There, I don't know, maybe like half a dozen or so different recovery houses that were up there at the time, and the meetings were always full. And again, I just looked for the people I wanted to emulate. Now, 12-step groups are great to do stuff like that. Um, However, you got to be wary sometimes of the people who are there, and that's why I said like I would see the people that I wanted to emulate, and Tyler knows this. Until
Yeah.
you get to really know me, I'm pretty quiet. I'm a fly on the wall, and I like to observe the situation. And
Yeah.
that's what I did for a little while. And I would hear people's stories, or this was years ago, so everybody would be outside smoking cigarettes, and you could kind of see how people carried themselves, and
Yeah.
I just tried to gravitate towards the people that seemed a little bit more serious about their life, and then, that change, and those are the people that I gravitated towards. And like I said, I just got lucky because there was a lot of them
Yeah.
doing all different stuff, and so I was exposed to a lot of different things, and that was great.
Sometimes you need a little bit of luck, man.
Hmm.
So Dave, forgive me. These are a couple questions that just, again, because I've been doing this podcast, I've learned some things. And if you don't know, or I don't do it well, we'll move on. It's fine. But these were some things that were suggested. But there's three. What does a bad day look like now, and what do you do with it
What does a bad day look like?
now?
I don't know. Sometimes I just wake up and my head's in a bad space. So I don't know if there's
Okay.
anything that'll necessarily like set me off to a bad day, but I still struggle with depression and anxiety and
Okay.
laundry list of other things. But well, how about the depression? Because that's something that I don't recognize immediately, but after a couple of days, I kind of
Yeah.
realize that I'm in a funk. It takes me a little bit, and
Yeah.
with that, I again the routine of things. So, I'll just try to make sure I'm getting up at the same time, having a breakfast, taking care of the kids, taking care of the dogs, making sure, all my, the T's are crossed and the I's are dotted and stuff like that. And, that kind of brings me back to life and to participate in it.
And
Seems to be
listen,
helpful.
you don't have to go through addiction to suffer from depression. I'm realizing after many years, I was going through depression years ago, and I didn't even know it. Mostly
Hmm.
because of my beautiful children, who Dave knows. They remind me of things today. They're like, "Yeah, you remember you used to say this," and it will be something god awful that a father should never say to their kids. And I'm like, "I said that to you?" They're like, yeah, a lot." I'm like, "I don't even recognize the person that you're talking about," and I'm like, "I can't believe I did that." I had no
Hmm.
knowledge that I was even doing what I was doing, and that I was like, "Oh my god, what kind of depressed motherfucker would say that shit to his kids?" I laugh
Yeah.
about it now only so I don't cry, but it, it is what it is, right? So I understand what you're saying. Now these are two kind of well, they're new to me. I've never heard of these terms. Do you still get using dreams? Have you ever heard of that terminology?
Yeah. No.
That's a thing.
Fortunately, no. Yeah.
Is that a thing?
Yep.
Oh
Yeah.
shit!
It's like a
All right,
sex dream, but about drugs.
really? See, Mo,
Yeah.
thank you.
And
I was like,
if it,
yeah,
yeah. Yep. So
really?
picture
Okay,
this
but you
the,
don't.
the same thing, but just with drugs. And
Damn, I didn't know that was a real thing.
it takes it they come and go for years. Fortunately, I haven't had one in a long time, but yeah.
Mo, have you ever heard of
Did
that?
not know that.
Yeah,
Never heard of
see,
it. I mean,
I was like, all
it
right,
makes
I'll
sense though
ask.
because it's what you're consciously
Yeah,
taking in. You typically are going to dream about it. All of us cops have had cop dreams usually, so I mean, makes
yeah,
sense.
mine are awful though.
I
I
stopped
hate my
having them
cop.
thankfully a
They're
These
long
never the
time
good
ago.
ones. They're never the good ones where I like was the winner or I felt like I did a good thing. It's always like where I fucked up or I saw something horrible. I hate those dreams. I
Yeah,
usually wake up at 3 and I can't go back to bed.
very
Yeah.
similar. You wake up in a cold sweat, full of anxiety, like what's going on? It's almost like a nightmare or something like that.
Yeah,
Damn. Well, okay.
wild.
So, okay, that was new for me, Dave. I appreciate you. And then this is the last one I'm going to do these because I said I'll take three. Uh, what's your warning light that tells you you're slipping? And if you don't know what I mean, then we'll move on because I don't actually understand what that means either.
Oh, I understand it. I'm trying. I, I like to call it polluted thinking,
Okay.
where so I'll get caught in just this really polluted way of looking at things, and kind of like looking back through the lens of my old life where everybody sucks, nothing's good, I want to destroy
Oh,
everything.
so it's more of a
You're
thought.
smiling, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So once I start feeling that way for like an extended period of time, like I know that something's going wrong, and that's when I try to like course correct,
Okay. Shout out
get away
Dr.
from
P.
that.
Dr. P is my psychiatrist, and she was like, ask him these things, and I was like, all right, very technical, but okay. Shout out Dr. P. I was like, I have no idea what you're saying. All right.
You know,
Mo, anything?
let
Sorry.
me just interject real quick because,
Yeah.
again, people think, I feel like people
Yeah.
believe in almost like a happily ever after. It's like, and he was
Yeah.
addicted, he fixed his life, he has
Yeah.
kids, he's married, and he lived happily ever after. And you see it kind of wrap up in a bow like you see a Disney movie. And they don't, I never thought about dreams. The depression and anxiety, I understand and can wrap my head around those kind of things.
Yeah.
But the polluted thinking and I I think coupling that with where does that polluting thinking lead, those kind of things like that, people don't realize real life exists for everyone. Happily ever
Yeah.
after, I don't want to sound like a Debbie Downer, but it doesn't exist for anybody. Whether you've been addicted, whether you've lived a quote unquote perfect life, there are still things that are going to hit you differently. There are still things that are
Yeah.
going to impact you mentally. There are still things that you have to push through, grind through, all those things like that. And I think when you will see, especially like I think celebrities talk about addiction, it's always
Yeah.
they go away, they come back and they bounce back and never to speak on it again. So
Yeah. Life has never
I
been
am
better.
just
Yeah.
no, never been better. It's
Yeah. Yeah.
it's like my
Yeah.
husband always says, he hates commercials that show people taking a pill for something. And he goes, look, if you take that pill, you'll be able to play golf and run around with your kids and do all these things.
Yeah, but
I
you might have
I
anal leakage and suicidal thoughts. Like you never
I
catch
take
that
that
disclaimer.
anyway. At least I can play golf.
Yeah.
So
Fair
that's
enough.
where I say, like, this conversation, Dave, of talking about, like, I still know what these things, my polluted thoughts look like. I still know what depression feels like after,
Yeah.
I've had it for a couple of days. I still have anxiety, but, I don't have to give in to that addiction. It's not one or the other. Would you agree that you have wrapped your head around now in your sober self of recognizing that life doesn't always have to be great in order for you to not look at it like everything's awful either? It's not a
Yeah,
one
like
side or the
just
other.
so I stopped using drugs just so I could have like regular life problems. You know what I mean? So
I'm going to
that's
make you a
basically
keynote speaker, bro. You drop bombs, bro. I love what you just said. I stopped using drugs so I
yeah,
could have regular life
Regular
problems.
life problems.
I'm sorry. Go
yeah,
ahead, Dave. I'm sorry.
yeah.
It's so good.
Yeah, sometimes, people think or that you stop using drugs so you're just entitled to have a good life. But like I said, when I stopped using drugs, I found that like I was
Yeah.
just now I was able to live the life that I wanted, but the life that I wanted also came with its own set of problems and
Yeah.
responsibilities. And now I'm just present for those problems and responsibilities. And instead of running away and getting high or something, now I actually
Yeah.
have to deal with the stuff. So yeah.
See what I'm saying, Mo? I'm telling you,
You need to make that
he's
a
shy
bumper
to fly the
sticker.
wall, but he has not. He just drops bombs, bro, all the time. I love it. You should see him in the barbershop. He kills it. Sorry, Dave. I apologize. And I
You
and
never know
I'm
what's going to come out of my mouth in that place.
oh I love it.
How do I carry what I did? I just don't glorify it. I'm not proud of it.
Yeah.
It's not who I ever wanted to be. It's just someone I ended up becoming, and it
Mhm.
wasn't me. And you know, I just I don't know how to kind of
That's all right.
how do I carry it and not let it go. It's just
I
not
mean,
who I want to be.
it's a part of you, right? But it's not who
Right.
you
It's a
are
part
now.
of me for sure,
Yeah.
but it's
I think some people
it's just
carry
not.
things that they've done wrong, though, with grief and regret, and that
Yeah.
kind of will become the new emotion that eats them away. How do you handle have you had that? And if you have, how do you handle that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think those are very human emotions. Eh, oh, so grief and regret, like around like my criminality or just in life in general.
Whatever.
With your criminality, with the addiction, sometimes people, I know for me, like I said, I've had some family members that had addiction issues. And a
Yeah.
lot of times they would go, when they did start going through recovery, it would be a mission for them to kind of come and apologize to all of us about things that they had done because
Yeah.
the regrets that they had, the grief they had for what they caused, the pain they caused the family, instead of being like, I did it. Yes, I apologize, but I'm going forward. And I think sometimes then this is my perspective looking at my family members, it held them back at times.
Yeah, you hold on to that stuff for sure. It can hold you back. It keeps you sick.
Yeah.
You can use it as an excuse of maybe not having a relationship with someone, not apologizing, not making up for what you've done in the past. Because if you just don't talk to them, you can kind of just shut it out and you know um but you gotta, it's cathartic. Even if you apologize to someone and they do nothing but scream at you, like that's what they need to do. And
Yeah.
with addiction, I feel like addiction is a way, or my drug addiction was a way that I took my like inner problems and just dumped them like all over the world. So instead of me dealing with my issues, I made the world upset around me and they had to deal with my issues. And
Got
like,
it.
how
Yeah.
dare me? Like, it's not, I should never have to put my problems on other people. That's something I tried very hard not to do today, is put what I'm going through on other people. Like, I don't like when they shoulder my burdens.
And this is a question, but let me give you my perspective and then I'll ask the question. It sounds, how what do you feel more guilty over, the addiction or the criminality? And let me just give me a pause for a second, because the criminality, again, going off of episode one and also just knowing you, to me, is completely understandable, knowing your backstory, how you were raised, what you were going through, and having seen, never experienced the addiction portion. I understand it, but recapping episode one, and again knowing you, I know you've talked several times about how you felt like the bank teller and how you started putting yourself in those people's shoes, and I could tell it still bothered you and stuck with you. But I guess what I'm asking, what bothers you the most, the addiction portion or the criminality portion?
The addiction portion and what it
Yeah,
did to my family for sure.
yeah, yeah.
Not to sound callous or anything, but the people, most of the people that I harmed, like through the crimes and stuff like that, I don't know them. I don't see them on a day-to-day basis, but I
That's
do
fair.
have a relationship with my family today.
Yeah,
And like the missed time and other people who have passed in my life that I'll never get to see again, but I had more important things to do than spend time with them. And
yeah.
that's what bothers.
Okay. Mo, anything?
No,
I got one more question, and we're gonna kind of move on to
yeah.
some other aspects. I have one other question, Dave, and I don't know 100% how you would answer it, but what's the most common thing people assume about you when they hear your story?
That I'm still a
Either,
jackass.
well, I, I laugh about that only because that's a hard question to answer because you're assuming what other
Yeah.
people think. Because I didn't, and we talked about it on episode one, and we've talked about it before. But you're like, I never thought I'd be friends with somebody in law enforcement. I'm like, why? Cops go through everything that you've described. I know not just one, multiple cops that have some aspects of what you went through. Like, they're not perfect anyway. And talking to you, I have a sense of who you are as a person. Again, I only know you from the time I met you, right? I don't know I've never met you before. 5-6 years ago when I walked into that barbershop and just talking to you, I was like, I like this guy. I like what he's doing. I like what he's about. And I remember when you were like, so what do you do? And I was like, oh, I'm a federal agent for the Secret Service. And the whole shop got quiet. And I was
What?
like, is that bad? Or like, did I say something wrong? And you're like, I never thought I would be talking to somebody like, on the law enforcement side. And then it sprung from there. And that's what I'm saying. Dave and I break bread. We talk. I've said it many times. I love this man. I'm proud to call him my friend. And I know where your heart is. And I guess that's just what I'm drawn to. But I guess, do you give it any thought, or have anybody ever said, oh, after hearing your story, I didn't think you'd be the way you are, or whatever? It's a hard
Yeah. I
question.
mean,
I'm
I
sorry.
think, yeah, that is a hard question. I think that I do get like pigeonholed and just
Yeah.
kind of, if you just heard my story, I don't think you would really understand what my day-to-day life looked like now.
Yeah.
You know, even if I heard my story, I wouldn't picture this.
Well,
But
that's why I appreciate you coming back on, but I didn't want to end it with just episode one, because I was like, I loved it. I appreciated it, but I'm like, I didn't feel like it represented the Dave that I know, right? Because we just kind of were talking a lot about historical things, and I my fault as the host, but I don't think we ever got into more of the where you are now and that whole portion. So that's what this is about, and I
Yeah.
appreciate it. All right, fair. All
Yeah,
right,
it's good. It's fun.
yeah. Well, it was fun, dude, and I again, I learned a lot about you. I'm still learning. I didn't even know you went to New Hampshire, and I didn't know that's how you and Dre knew each other. All right, so now we're gonna kind of shift, if that's okay, Mo. Unless you have something you want to
Nope.
stick
You
on,
covered
Mo.
it all.
No, all right, perfect. All right, so this is kind of moving into maybe some advice areas. But what are your non-negotiables each week? You talked about the gym, your reading, your day-to-day, your routine. Like, do you have like a structure when you're talking about getting out of your funk, things like that? Like, you have to accomplish whatever it is each week.
I don't necessarily think I like lists. So I do
Okay.
have like punch lists.
Yeah. Okay.
And I like to break down tasks, especially large tasks, into
Yeah.
small and more attainable tasks. So, it could be residing the house, and the first step is just going to Home Depot and buying the hammer. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
I can do that today. You know what I mean? It doesn't mean I have to do the whole house today, but I can do that today. It makes it
That's fair.
easier for me to kind of, punch away at the stuff. As far as like non-negotiables, this is another little thing that always sticks in my head. Bruce Lee, be like water.
Yeah.
You ever heard that? Yeah,
Oh yeah.
that's another way that I like to live my life. So it's like I just kind of like flow with the way that life is going.
Yeah.
And that's also I find that to be pretty helpful.
All right. Do you have any rules or things that you look out for as far as people, places, or behaviors that used to be tied to using? So like, well, I'll just say it. There's a certain 7-Eleven in an area that we both know where everyone's known that that's a area where you can get things that are maybe not legal. So that would to me be a place or behavior. So like, do you avoid that kind of like, are the things that you avoid not to trip you up?
I actually kind of like going there, especially at night in the summertime.
All right, go ahead. Go ahead.
It can be entertaining.
Okay.
That's
But
true.
if I found
It's very
myself
true.
in one of those like negative thought loops that I was
Yeah.
talking about, I would definitely try to avoid a place like that.
Okay.
One of the biggest things is negative people in general. I find that
Okay.
people who are always negative, who always talk poorly about a situation, it doesn't matter what the situation is, they can always find fault in it. I
Yeah.
I, I definitely try to stay away from people like that.
Yeah.
And yeah. So that's kind of one like red flag. Was that's something I definitely stay away from.
Well said, brother. Well said. Do you have any unexpected triggers that still surprise you
Mm.
to this day? If not, it's fine. The answer could be no.
Smells. There are
Really?
certain smells, yeah, that I'll catch a whiff of, and it will remind me of people, places, and things, and it brings me right back.
Really? Can you
That makes
just,
sense.
I mean, you don't have to. Can you describe one or one example?
I mean, I
You
don't
don't have
know.
to.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think. Like, there are certain vitamins that people use to cut drugs, and
Ah,
other
okay.
substances like that. So
Interesting.
occasionally, I'll like pop open a new thing of vitamins, and I'll get like a whiff where you open up, whatever. You can smell it.
Yeah.
Oh,
You're like, oh,
ugh.
Mo,
that's
isn't this
interesting.
interesting? I'm fascinated by
Well,
this stuff.
that makes sense because I told you I'm kind of a nerd, so I read a bunch of nonsensical things that I don't need in my life. But
Yeah.
one of the things I've read about is memories, and the sense that's tied most closely to our memories is our sense of smell. It'll bring you back to the place, make you remember the faces, all those things quicker than anything else. That's why we always remember what chocolate chip cookies smell like, you know? So
That's true.
it's
That's why
kind of
your
like one of
son's
those
like,
things.
my
Makes
mom
sense.
cooks better than everybody else's mom. That's a true
That is
statement,
true.
Dave, that was spoken to me directly to my face.
That is true.
So good.
I have a
All right, a
question
couple
real
things.
quick.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Mo. Go ahead.
Dave, how long have you been clean? I didn't remember that from the first episode.
I think coming up on it's either 8 or 9 years.
Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, in January. So January 25th, and it's
26.
yeah. So 8 years.
Mm-hmm.
I was just
I think
curious
eight
because
years. Yeah.
a lot of times people look and they go, oh, that guy's probably been clean for 15 or 20 years. And I think that puts some perspective on where you are and how quickly you have gotten to where you are. Um, and to be talking about your physical space, your career, your family, your kids, all these things, but mindset, again, I think it goes back to that and it's just incredible.
Thank you.
No, for sure. All right, a couple more things on this topic, and then we'll move on to some other stuff. But again, I'm just fascinated, so I did my own research. But things that are common hardships, sleep. Do you protect it like sobriety? Do you like? Are you sure you pause it? You get your 8 hours or whatever of sleep. Like, are you protective of sleep?
I am. Well, again, routine.
Yeah,
So I like to be up by 6 o'clock in the morning, and depending on with like kids and other responsibilities, but usually I'm asleep by like 10 or 12 at night. I feel
yeah,
like I can function well on 6 hours of sleep. 8 hours is optimal. But anything less than four, I'm just trash. So, I try to get, a good 6, 8 hours of sleep every night. And if not, you can tell.
yeah. And I am cheating mode because I've talked to Dave about some of these things, so I know these things. But do you remember being as hyper aware or focused on sleep prior to your sobriety? Was it important to you
No,
in any way? Yeah,
no, not at all. It was secondary for sure.
which is wild to me. We've already talked about fitness and food because your health. But this was something I don't know, Dave, and you don't have to answer it. Money. How do you manage it without setting up like old patterns? Because we've talked about this before, and you
Oh,
don't have to answer it if you don't want to.
I'm terrible. My whole philosophy was money is spend it as fast as I make it. So I go through periods in my life where I'm pretty good with money and I can actually
Yeah,
save money.
yeah.
Right now I don't feel like I'm in one of those one of those
Well,
It's
periods.
fair.
I just want to say the man owns a house, a business. He's got a lot going on. And I remember talking to you about that. I'm cheating, David. I apologize because you've talked to me like, dude, we're doing all these things, but God, it costs so much money. It's like I have made all this money to do all these things and now I have none. I'm like, yeah, but you're doing all these good things. But I
Yeah.
understand. I fully understand. You're
Yep.
doing good things with it.
Well,
You're building
that's it.
something.
Like, yeah, trying.
Yes. No, for sure. And then this was something interesting. Either like your social life. I'm trying to think of a good way to answer this. Is there anything that you had to cut out or I don't know if it's an activity, people, I mean, we've kind of established that, but is there any activities or social activities that you used to enjoy that you had to cut out entirely
I mean, I just
besides the
keep to
obvious?
myself. Yeah.
What's that?
Now I just keep to myself. I'm a total homebody. When my girlfriend's family was up and her brother asked, hey, like, what do you do with your free time? And I didn't know what to say because I really don't, I work, kids, gym, hang out with the dogs, sit in my backyard. Like it's just all these real like peaceful, quiet activities. And he's like, so what do you like to do? And I was like, mind my own business, man. Like I didn't know what else to say.
That's my hobby.
Like
Minding my business.
Hey,
yeah,
mind
I'm
it.
real
Yeah.
good at it. Yeah,
Yeah. But see what you just described,
so
that is my
I've
happy place.
completely, I've
Yeah.
cut everything out. I don't know if it's just I'm getting old and grumpy or what the deal is, but I've just fully
Maybe.
embraced the hermit life, man. Yeah.
Ain't nothing
I
wrong with
know
it, bro.
when
I love it.
some people will indicate though, like that have had addiction issues that even like I said, in my family, drinking, they knew if I drank, it's going to lead me to letting down my wall. And so therefore it can lead me into now drugs and things like that. Are you able to manage, say, for instance, drinking or something like that, and it doesn't bother you? Or is it like, nope, everything's off the table?
Yeah, I have my med card, so I like to smoke weed, and I really think that I don't want, I'm not advocating this for anybody else. I don't think that I don't really like replacement therapy and stuff like that. I feel like you
Mhm.
can do your own thing, but for me, just having that little bit of a release occasionally when I need it, I
Yeah.
think it's kind of human. I mean, throughout history, people have, searched for substances to kind of get out of their mind for a period of time. I think that, some people need that release. And since a young age, I've always looked for a release, and, I've kind of used that. But with the drinking, I don't know if I was necessarily an alcoholic, but I definitely drank alcoholically. I would
Yeah.
drink to get drunk and to get drunk quick.
Yeah.
And what it would do, just like you said, you touched on it, it would lower my inhibitions. And so I don't drink anymore, because when I am consistently drinking like that, it puts me around people, places, and things where those bad decisions are easier to make.
Got
And
it.
Yeah.
so, I just kind of avoid those situations altogether.
Yeah,
Well, you see
makes
how he just
sense.
throws out replacement therapy? Like it's just normal.
Yeah.
I actually I need to get my mother on here because she's a anyway, I'll let her speak for herself one day when she gets on here. But she is a proponent of it, not necessarily the replacement aspect, but anyway, it's just different. So I
Well,
understand what you're saying.
so yeah, I think that it is a great tool,
Yeah,
but I
there
do
you go.
not think
Cool.
that
Yes.
anybody should be yeah, I don't think that anybody should be on methadone for 20 years.
Yeah.
That's just to get you out of active addiction and to get you on your feet and to
Right.
stabilize you. I think it is supremely beneficial, and it has helped, a ton of people that I know.
Yeah.
However, I think there needs to be an end game to it, and it can't just be a money grab.
Yeah, for sure.
Money grab?
Well,
What do you
with
mean by that? Sorry.
insurance, I mean, if
Insurance
Oh,
companies
I'm
accept a
sorry.
ton of
Okay.
yeah.
yeah,
Yep. Sorry.
insurance,
My brain
yeah,
didn't go there. Yeah. Okay. I'm sorry. Yeah. My money didn't.
yeah.
My money. My brain didn't go there. I'm sorry. I understand what you mean. Sorry. Fair enough. Um, maybe you touched on it, but when did you first believe you could actually build something legitimate?
I've
Because I
always
met
had
you when
that in
you
the
were
back of my
working at
head.
a barbershop. You
Yeah,
were working.
I've always had it in the back of my head. I've tried, various things over the course of my life to kind of like work for myself. But
Yeah.
my father had his own business. My grandfather had his own business. There's a lot of people in my family that are kind of like self-made that way, and it's just always something that I wanted. And I mean, me, I'm kind of, my head's a little out there sometimes. So working for other people, um, there can be a little friction here and there. And I
Yeah.
knew that if I could just kind of do it for myself, then, you know, the only friction would be with me. So it's
Yeah.
easier.
Your own friction, which could be dangerous.
Yep.
Um, I'm actually this is a me question to you, Dave. What do you think or feel your leadership style is? 'Cause keep in mind he has employees, business partners, so he's doing the thing. But like, what do you feel like your leadership style is?
I like to lead by example.
Hmm.
So I feel like people tend to pick up on your bad habits, and not to say, I mean, I have a million bad habits, but I like to, you know, I'll never ask you to do something I wouldn't ask of myself.
Yeah,
And so,
I know we glassed over it, but he's up at 6, and sometimes he doesn't go to bed till midnight. So I just want to explain
Mm.
to people that success typically, everyone I've ever known, takes more than 8 hours.
well, I used to get up earlier, but my girlfriend works nights, so she's a
Yeah,
night owl. So like we try to maximize our time together. So now my
yeah.
hours have slightly shifted. And I don't know where I read this, but years ago I read this thing, and it was called like the 5 a.m. Club. You ever heard of that?
Uh, no, but
And
I
they were
understand
just
exactly what you're saying.
uh, they were talking about habits of successful people, and
Yeah,
they were just saying, this person gets up at 5 a.m. and they go for a run and they work out and they read and they do this, and that's what I did that for years. I would wake up at 5, and I would try to read, I would watch the news, I would work out, and then, then people in the family would start getting up, and it was 6:30, and I had already done I had already
yeah,
accomplished something, and everybody else was just getting out of bed. And, even you can look back on your day, and at least you did something, even if it's just make your bed in the morning, you know, I guess actually you asked me my non-negotiables. The bed must be made before I leave the house every single day.
Yeah.
Every day. Yeah,
Dave,
that's one.
yeah, Dave, BJ and I have talked about this on 56 and stuff, but we
Yes.
talk about start with one win a day, make your bed. And
Yep.
we
Make your
also
That's
bed.
talked
it.
about a lot of again, my exposure to powerful, successful people, whatever you describe success as, but world leaders, CEOs and stuff, they're all up either 5 a.m. or earlier, and they have already started their day, all of them. And
Yeah.
then you have all these fitness influencers now, and Jocko famously, he's usually finished a full fucking workout before 5 a.m. and read, see what I'm saying? So what you're saying makes complete sense. And I was never really truly a morning workout guy. That is something I've started doing over the last 2 years. Well, now that I have a set schedule and I have normal sleep, I can do that. I knock all this stuff out. I wake up, make the bed, I work out, walk the dog. Yeah, I do all these things, and it's like 8 o'clock, and I've already done like a full thing, almost more
Yeah.
than some people do all day, right? And it's behind me, so now I can just continue on with the rest of my day. So,
Right.
see, I love all the things you're saying, brother. This wasn't scripted, by the way. We didn't like preset these things up. Go ahead, Mo.
I was going to say, going back to what he was saying, even when he has those off days of, like, oh, I feel like I'm getting a little depressed. Waking up that early in the morning and getting things accomplished, is that sometimes what gets you or pushes you through those rough moments or rough times?
Yeah, that's kind of like what I was talking about earlier, where,
Yeah.
like the routine of things and where I just, just make sure, even if it's easy to just keep throwing dishes in the sink, but like to just actually
Yeah.
take the time. And it doesn't, if through the whole day, if you wake up in the morning, hands in there, dishes, lunchtime, you're throwing more stuff in there. At the end of the day, you're throwing, stuff from the oven. You got a big pile of stuff. But if
Yeah.
you just hit that, your coffee cup and your little dish with the egg on it, boom, you're done. Takes 2 minutes. But if you let that stuff sit there all day, at the end of the night, you have this big ass pile of dishes, and it'll take you 45 minutes to wash it. When,
Hmm.
and that's kind of like what I'm saying, so I do try to just kind of like those little tasks and, it's the same thing. The dishes will pile up, but those little tasks pile up too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And those completions, those little wins, they all mean something.
they do.
I'm right. I love it. Again, these are just some of my questions. Do you hire differently because of your past?
Mm,
Are you more prone to give someone a chance? Are you more
I would
suspicious?
say so. Yeah, I would say so.
More
But
on
also too, I
yeah.
don't know if suspicious is the right word, but I can spot that bullshit from a mile away. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
so but yeah, I mean, I feel like and a lot of the people that work at the shop are in recovery. And it's
Okay.
just that there's that networking though.
Yeah.
They come up and they, the vetting process, they have good references, people speak for them, and that speaks volumes for somebody, because I know I'm willing to introduce you to a friend, I'm putting my name on the line with you.
Yeah.
So for someone else to do that, it holds weight with me.
Yeah. That was a me question just because it's like, this is your business, right? This is your lifeblood. It's something you and Dre built. Credit where credit's due. And Mo, I know you've never been. At some point we will, but I love his shop. The way he did it, the way it's set up with the lounge, the TV. I love, and again, we didn't get into this. Dave did a lot of that work himself. And I remember when you were doing it, because you were grinding like fucking 12, 18 hours. I don't even know. Maybe
That was
more, but
tough.
I know, brother.
That
And you
was
were
the
like,
year,
dude.
dude. I got married, had a kid, and started a business all in the same year while I was working full time.
Yeah,
That sounds
brother.
I was
easy.
supporting a house. Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was a tough one.
But you did it.
What do you
And
want to
it
do
looks
this year?
great.
Everything.
Yeah, I did
That
all the
everything.
things.
That's it. Making up for lost time.
That's right. That's right. What does a win look like? I'm interested in this compared to back. What does a win look like now? Like, what is a win for you now compared to back in the day? I know I'm hitting Dave with all these questions now.
Yeah. what does
I
a
know,
win
bro.
look like? I take them all, like little wins. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
man.
little, like today I had tacos for lunch. I had leftover tacos for lunch. I was in the
Banging.
back room dancing. I was like, yeah, that's a win right there. You
That's
know
a
what I
It
mean?
is.
win. These are
Yeah.
good tacos.
It's
That's
little
right.
stuff like that. Well, but I can see like the joy in life. One of my greatest joys right now is my son when he takes a bite of like a new food and he
Yeah.
really enjoys it, like this look on his face. And like
Yeah.
just to see that, like it's a beautiful thing to see. But like when you can see life like that for those little things, like you see the flowers behind me, man. I spend 20 minutes a day staring at these stupid things, but I can just see it, and that's a win. That's it right there. You can
Yeah.
see the simple joys in life and you can appreciate them, and it's completely changed me.
Yeah.
Dave, I love that, bro. See, that's why, bro. Have kids, people. Have kids. They
Seeing
just
life
make
through
you happy.
kids' eyes is amazing. When you brought up
I
about the
know.
food thing, my son will eat food and he has this thing where he'll close his eyes and he'll go, I gotta close my eyes for this. While he's eating it, I'm like, oh,
Oh, that's
Her
good.
her her son's a
it's good.
40-year-old man in an 8-year-old body. He likes hot tea. Bro, tell me I'm
It's
wrong, bro.
true.
Tell me I'm wrong.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Go ahead, Mo. Anything?
Nope, that's it.
All right. A couple things. I want to be respectful of everyone's time. Mo's got a heart out here in a few minutes, so I just, if that's okay. This one, these next couple are just, I don't know. What's the hardest relationship to repair? Family,
Mm.
romantic, or with yourself?
Mm.
You don't have to pick one.
I mean,
They all are hard to me, bro.
the relationship with myself, maybe.
Yeah?
It's difficult. I struggle with a lot of things, but being able to look in the mirror and be happy with what you see, that's a day-to-day thing.
Yeah.
Um,
That's fair.
Relationships with, romantic relationships, I feel like once they've run their course, they've run their course, you know,
Fair. That's fair,
and,
bro.
um, but the relationships with family, you still struggle with those. I mean, even having a relationship with family can be a struggle sometimes.
Yeah.
So those can be difficult regardless, but yeah.
So, I talked about this a couple episodes ago. I think it was on 56, but I'm in a much better place than I have been in a very long time with my children, relationally, professionally. I'm in a good place, and I found myself even at some of my happiest moments wondering if it was okay, if I deserve to be happy. And I brought up that there are still some people in my life, family, things like that, that close to me. But it's like in my happiest moments, I feel like sometimes they have to just remind me that I used to be a fuck up. And I'm like, why you gotta do that, bro? And I guess my question is, does that still happen to you?
Yeah. Yeah, it
Like I'm
does.
doing well. Why you gotta bring up old shit?
Yeah. I mean, it's good because it kind of brings you back and reminds me of who I was, and it kind
All
of
right.
keeps me from really getting like a inflated sense of self-worth sometimes. Because it's easy to, I mean, I'm not the same person that I was, 10 years ago,
Yeah.
15 years ago, but I am still that same person. And I can be that person. Like, just like I said, a couple bad decisions can bring me right back there,
So
so it
you
kind of,
appreciate the
that will,
reminders?
that I do. That's what I was just going to say. So
Okay.
All
sometimes
right.
I do,
You have a better
it's how
outlook
it
than
feels.
I do because it makes me angry, and I'm like, shut the fuck up.
Well, it does. That's my initial response,
Fair.
but
That's fair.
you
All
sit
right.
on
That's
it,
fair.
sit on it for a week, 2 month, year, whatever, and then you can kind of come around on it.
All right. Maybe in a year I'll be okay with it. Fair.
Yeah.
Fair, bro. This is a hard question, and do you believe people have the right to never forgive you?
Yes.
This is more than just your stuff. This is also my own shit. Yeah, you do.
Yeah. Yep.
How do you handle that? I'm
Well,
dealing with
that's
this
kind of like,
myself, so
so this is goes to what I was saying about being able to look in the mirror and like who you
yeah,
see and respect who you are as a man.
yeah,
You need to get to that point. And it's come to me with age, but I uh, I really don't give a fuck what anybody else thinks of me or about the world or anything like that. Like if you're not directly in my life, and even the people who are in my life, um, I really don't care what they think about me because I'm doing personally the best that I can. I know that every day when I get up, my day to day best looks different, but at that moment in time, I'm doing the best that I can, and that's all I can do. And if that doesn't align with people or they don't want to be in my life, that's fine. They don't have to be in my life. I'm still going to do the best that I can do.
See, Mo, Dave was my consigliere for a few years because when I would go through some shit, I always felt bad. I'm like, I'm dumping on you, bro. But he just has that depth of experience and that I don't have, and I don't know that I ever will. But he had a way of saying things and framing things that made me be like, I'm being I'm being a little sensitive, or you know what I mean? Like he has a depth of one graciousness and empathy that I still don't have. I'll tell you that right now, but also perspective. And so I wanted to incorporate a little bit of that in this episode because this is me sitting in the barbershop being like, bro. Anyway, we don't have to get personal. I'm not trying
I
to
think that's
do
a
that, but
quality that comes with barbers and hairdressers as well, because you're
yeah,
sitting
but
in their chair and
yeah,
you're talking, telling them all kinds of stuff.
yeah, but he has it
We
where
hear
it's
it
like,
all.
well, very true, but I don't know. You speak from a place of like, I don't know. It's not um what am I trying to say? Arrogance or anything like that. Or it's not. It doesn't. I don't know. It hits different when I talk to Dave. It just hits different. It's like when you ask somebody a question and you ask somebody else the same question. When Dave says it, it just hits different, and I don't know why,
Yeah.
but it does.
Well, I think that
Thanks,
when we were
man.
talking about his
It's
mindset
true.
too, that like it goes when he said just then, it's like it's not being arrogant to say I don't care, but I think you also have to, and correct me if this is part of it, you got to give people room in their lives to do what they want to do, and you can only control what you can control.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah, people are going to do what they want to do, and the only thing that you can control is yourself. And if you think you're controlling anything else, you're just fooling yourself. You know,
very true.
even I mean, think of it with kids.
Oh yeah,
You
for
think you're
sure.
kind of controlling, dictating, and they're going to do what you want to do, and you walk out in the living room and it's upside down, and you're like, that was 3 minutes. I just let the
Yeah,
dogs outside.
Why'd
yeah,
you do
And
that?
it,
yeah.
yeah,
Why would you do that? Yeah, that's true. That's true. All right, last few minutes. We didn't do this last time, and I kicked myself for over a year. If someone's listening from a car, shelter, jail pod, or motel room, what do you want them to hear from you regarding your story?
dude, if I can do it, you can do it without a doubt in my mind. If I can do it, everybody can do it.
Never give up. I love it. I learned a lot actually on this episode. What's one decision that can happen today that changes the next 30 days? Again, this is speaking from historical Dave.
One decision that can change the next 30 days.
Yeah,
Like,
you
what
hear
do you
people
mean?
say like one day at a time, things like that. Like, again, just listening to your story, like your progression. Again, we're building off episode 1, but you had your relapse. You went to New Hampshire. Your buddy gave you $100, but you had to start doing something. You went to a half. I didn't know a lot of this. We didn't cover it, and I don't think we've ever talked about it. Like you had to. To me, it sounds like a day by day thing, but like, is there anything that you're like, just today I'm going to do this, and this will affect. I'm going to do this for the next 30 days, or is there any type of advice to get you through? Make this decision today. It'll change the rest of your life. I think it's a little rough, but like maybe change the
Well,
next month.
how about that? So
Yeah,
I'm not sure if this is what you're asking, but this is what I'm going to throw out there.
go ahead.
I would tell myself it doesn't have to be forever. Like maybe I can get high tomorrow. Maybe I can get high 10 years from now. Like I just can't get high today. Let me
There you
wait
go.
till tomorrow. Let me sleep on it. If I still want to get high tomorrow, maybe I'll get high tomorrow. And it's been, like I said, damn near 8 years now, and I haven't wanted to
Yeah,
get high yet tomorrow. So, but
That's
I think if
crazy.
you look at, and again, it goes to
yeah,
the way that I look at things where if you look at a big problem as like a bunch of little problems,
yeah.
if you don't have to look at forever as forever, you can just look at forever as a series of today an hour, if I want, even if it, and they say this like, in the 12-step programs, just a minute. It can be a minute at a time. I'm not going to get higher right now. You know what I mean? And then eventually, though, it gets further and bigger, and you can string together a bunch of minutes into a bunch of hours, into a bunch of days, and it'll just keep snowballing.
It's so interesting.
Yeah, that's wild.
It actually,
Yeah.
when I was a negotiator as a deputy, one of the things that when we had people on the phone that wanted to kill themselves, I would always say to them, listen, you can kill yourself tomorrow. I'm just asking you, give me today. Give me today to see if we can figure something out. So that's incredible. That ideology applies somewhere else. I had never really heard of it that way.
Yeah. And it's like, sometimes it's just as simple as like with my anxiety, just to keep breathing, just to get through that next breath. Sometimes in certain situations, and you guys have probably felt this, especially with your careers, where like that's all. Okay,
Yeah.
okay, I'm still here. I'm still here, motherfucker. Okay, like where do we go? And
Yes.
that's
You're
it.
right.
And you just, yeah, sometimes that's it.
That's awesome.
Mo, any final words?
That's a way to close it out there. I'm still here.
I know.
Because that'll do it.
Dave, anything you want to end with?
No, thank you. Thanks, man. This was great. It was really nice talking to you guys. And, I felt like I kind of talking in circles in a few different parts, but you can edit that out.
No, you're great, bro. That's why I keep trying to tell you, bro. You are a speaker, a keynote speaker. You are a storyteller. Again, I've said it.
I don't feel like I got
times.
any new stories though, man. I got to get some new stories.
This wasn't new story time. This wasn't new story time. I wanted to build off of episode 1 and not recap that. That wasn't the intent. I just, what does life look like after the comeback? Nobody ever tells that story. Look at any TV show, movie, book, whatever. It ends at, and started my business and I have a beautiful family and life ever after. And it's like, no, bro, like that's not how it is.
Well, no, I mean, life just comes at you. Like, things have changed completely. I moved, divorced. You know what I mean? Like, there's just a whole bunch of stuff that happens, and it's just life, and you just got to deal with it. And that's nobody else is gonna do it for you. You just got to do it for yourself.
Oh, God. Dave, God dang it, bro! Like you are a quote machine, brother. I love it, and that's why I appreciate you, bro. You have knowledge, bro. You have wisdom. Maybe you don't see it or don't feel it, but you definitely do.
For sure.
Don't go anywhere. Don't go anywhere. We'll end it. But Dave, I'm going to say it one more time. I love you, brother. I'm happy. I'm happy you're crushing it. Thank you. And I appreciate you.
Thank you for the conversation.
Anytime. Have a good night.
Have a good night.